ॐ यो देव सवितास्माकं धियो धर्मादिगोचराः प्रेरयेत्तस्य यद्भर्गः तद्वरेण्यम् उपास्महे।
पारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। We are in the 4th chapter, verse number 13. That's what we saw very elaborately last time. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah asya kartaram mam vidhi akartaram avyayam. This has two components, which was, one is that I am the one who created the fourfold classification of people, what is called as Varna Brahma, which we discussed very elaborately. The second part is, even I created the four varnas is only a matter of way of saying. It's like a way of speech. It's like telling, I am the beggar. I am the one who became the beggar. When the king goes to the drama, he says, who was the beggar? The king says, I was the beggar. So it is in the drama language, the king says, I was the beggar. The king was never beggar. Similarly, Ishvara, though he is apparently doing within the language of the Maya, it looks like Lord is apparently doing. Lord is not the doer. It is not only that he is not the doer, every person who realizes the true nature of the self, one who realizes that one's own self is Ishvara, and it is of the same nature as Ishvara, as Akarta, Abhokta, that person also is not a doer, is free from the action and its consequences. So because that is the next one, he says, Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale sprha. Iti mam yo abhijanati karma bir na badhyate. Actions do not affect me. There is no desire for me with reference to the result of action. There is no longing with reference to the result of action for me. The one who knows me clearly in this way is not bound by action. He's not talking about a specific exclusive privilege of being God. They say in that Milton's poem, what is that? Paradise Lost. In that Lucifer says, you have the thunderbolt, and that is why you are so powerful. I am not so powerful like you because I don't have the thunderbolt. You have the thunderbolt. So like that, the Lord has a special privilege which everybody is jealous of. No. That's why he says, see, I may, even though I may be appear to be doing so many things, actions do not affect me. Namam karmani limpanti. The actions means karma, action and the result of action don't stick to me because there is no sense of doership. And also there is one more. There is no longing with reference to the result of action for me. The Lord, even though He is doing, He is not anxious about the result. The result does not make a difference for Him. The result comes or it does not come, it does not matter. So the desire for the result is not there. Ownership over the result is not there. He is not doing for his own sake. So the action and the consequences of action don't bind the Lord. Those who know me in this way, the person who knows me clearly in this way is not bound by actions. How come? So then one religious group decided, okay, every day we will read this sloka, Bhagavad Gita. The one who knows the Lord as not the doer and not the enjoyer, the Lord is immutable, that person is not affected by karma. Chant this 108 times every day and you will not be affected by karma. Does it what it mean? I can convert this into a fantastic religious trip. That is not what it's talking about, it's knowledge. Those who know me in this way means, Shankaracharia tells, those who know me as the self of all. Means those who know me as his own self. That means he knows his own self to be Ishvara. His true nature to be Ishvara. Ishvara is me, I am Ishvara. I am actually Ishvara, I am not this Jiva. when this knowledge comes to that individual, he knows that his actual qualities are the qualities of the Atma or Akarta, Atma Akriya. Atma, the self, is not the doer, and the self is not affected by result of actions. The one who knows like this is not bound by actions. Not only me, whoever understands his own true nature to be the non-doer, whoever understands his true nature to be the non-doer and is not keen on the results of action, whoever is not only, suppose if you don't know also, even though you may not know your true nature, if you are not attached to the results of action, even then the actions don't bind you. So there are two things. One is Atma is not the doer. Second is no longing for the results of action. The one who knows me in this way means the one who knows himself to be this is not bound by actions. It is a law. It is a certain mechanism of being bound by actions and result of actions. It is not an exclusive privilege of God. Even if God, suppose let us say, for the sake of saying, it doesn't happen. Suppose God forgets and gets attached to the result of action. He is very, so much Bhagavad Gita and everything I taught, I don't know. There are only 10 people in Bhagavad Gita class. What is happening to Bhagavad Gita? I should do something. No, I should make this Bhagavad Gita reach people properly. There are people who are printing Bhagavad Gita as it is, and they are teaching whatever it is not. So what to do about this? So I should go and save my Bhagavad Gita. He is not bothered. He gave the Bhagavad Gita and it has created a lot of jnanis. It has also created a lot of mess. It is every teaching of the Lord can be interpreted, misinterpreted, used and abused. So he is not bothered about this. The results come according to the laws of karma. He is not owner of the results. He does not consider himself to be the doer either. No. So if Lord suppose things like this and comes and wants to control the result, then what will happen? He will also be bound. If he has a desire, I should get that. If he has a desire, then he loses his nature of being the Lord. That is what the Purva Pakshi, the one who is arguing against certain arguments, is gone. You said you created the forecast, gone. You are not God anymore. You have the sense of doership. You said you created forecast. You are a doer. Once you are a doer, once you are a karta, you are bound by karma and the result of karma, and that makes you limited. That means you have to be born, you have to lose your Ishvaratvam. You have to lose your status as the Lord. So you are not God anymore. Says the opponent. Probably a Sankhya person. But Sankhya's don't accept Ishvara. Sankhya's don't accept God. They accept Veda. Sankhya people accept Veda as Pramana. But they don't accept Ishvara. It's called Nirishvara Sankhya. Means Sankhya people accept Veda, accept the two Purusha, Prakriti and all that, but will not accept God. If there is some God, he is another Purusha like you and me, special Purusha, some another guy with some extra powers. He is not the absolute. That one Ishvara, Ekameva, Dvitiyam, they will not accept. That the main opponent for the Advaita Siddhantam is the Sankhya person. Sankhya is the basis for Buddhism. Sankhya is very sophisticated. Because Buddha learned under a lot of Sankhya people. And then later, when whatever they say, he got enlightened. So after that, his teaching, if you see, it's heavily borrows from Sankhya. The approach heavily borrows from Sankhya. So Sankhya is basically the foundation of so many philosophies in India, including Ayurveda and everything. But Sankhya has a problem when it comes to the cosmic vision. So probably this opponent is a Sankhya person. He said, you became a doer, you are not God. So he is only waiting for the slightest chance to deny Ishvara. So he says, no, it's not like that. Even though I do, I am not bound by my actions. Even though I may appear to be doing, I am not bound by my actions. Action do not stick to me. And also I don't have longing for the results of action. Whosoever knows me in this manner is also not bound by actions. Not only me. Anybody who is understanding oneself to be the non-doer and desireless towards the results of action is not bound by action. So, bondage is a certain mechanism. Bondage is a certain mechanism based on attachment, which is the result of ignorance. Okay? Attachment, which is the result of ignorance, causes bondage. So, bondage, the story of bondage and struggle and samsara is nothing but a ghost that is based on weird imagination, that is based on non-apprehension of what is the reality. It is like a kid imagining ghosts in a dark room. there is no ghost. All you need to switch on the light and say that there is no ghost. Similarly, once the knowledge of the self dawns, you understand there is no bondage. So such a person is not bound by it. That's what it means. So the one who knows me in this manner means the one who understands oneself to be the Lord. That is the meaning. Evam jnatva kritam karma purvairavi mukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvaihi purvataram kritam. Knowing me in this manner, even the seekers of ancient times performed action. Therefore, perform action indeed, as even it was done by those who came before in the ancient past. Again, he is stressing the tradition where he says it is not just, why he says Purvairam Apiyo, do as the ancients did. So the person is asking, why you just tell me this is my command, do, because I want you to do, I will do. Why you are bringing all the ancients, he did, that person did, Janaka did, the great master Sukha did, why you are bringing all those ancient people that they did. I will just, you just tell me, Arjuna, do action, I will do. You don't need to tell all the ancients, why to say that? He says, no, karma and do exactly as the ancients did is not only talking about the attitude, it is also talking about the choice over the right course of action. That is also coming. Live according to the Swadharma. Do action according to the Swadharma without the sense of doership. So do as the ancients did. Even the ancients, even the seekers of the ancient time performed action in this manner, knowing me. Means those great masters in the old, the sages, who were attaining the perfection through Karma Yoga. And even after, through Karma Yoga means through the purification of the mind attained by Karma Yoga, followed by Jnana. And if they were enlightened, they still did action for the welfare of the world. Just like how the Lord does, keeps this universe afloat, even though He has no need to do this. So they did the karma for the welfare of the world, to set an example. Because they were Kshatriyas, they were Raja Rishis. He told the Guru Parampara, you remember? In the beginning of the chapter, he said, what is the lineage? What are the people I taught? I taught to Manu, Manu taught to Ikshvaku, and all that. I taught this to Vivashwan, Vivashwan taught this to Manu, Manu taught this to Ikshvaku. If you remember, I was telling you about the different scales of time. Kali Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga. And then these four, so many yugas put together is one Manu, and it's called one Manmantra. One Manu, one person called Manu is in charge. You have Manu Dharma Shastra, and all that, and so many, all these facts I told you about. So the teaching lineage was the Kshatriyas, the teaching to the different Raja Rishis he was teaching. The Raja Rishis means kingly sages, the kings who were also sages, or the sages who were also kings. So it is a combination. They are not there because their job was to protect the Brahmanas and to protect the Dharma and to protect the society. These people were taught Karma Yoga and this knowledge of action backed by knowledge, Karma Yoga. That is Karma Yoga. Action with an attitude of yoga. This was taught so that they will have enough inner strength to protect the world. They will not succumb to the likes and dislikes. They will stay in the platform of freedom and perform action. So the Lord taught this to them for the welfare of the world. So if you remember that, in that line he says, in this manner, through the knowledge of oneself as Ishvara, even the seekers of the mumukshus of the ancient time, those who seek liberation in the past, those people, they also performed action. Therefore, perform action indeed as even as it was done by those who came before in the ancient time. Do like just like they did in every manner. Means take them for your inspiration. May you do what is necessary with the attitude of yoga, taking those Rajarishis as inspiration. Now, if you say, why I should asking me to do as they did? Why can't you simply, say, do the action and I will do? Why you want me to emulate the ancients? Then he says, no, because what is karma is very difficult to understand. Why? Do as the ancients did. Why did I tell you? Here is the reason. Kim karma, kim akarmeti, kavayo apyatra mohitaha, tatte karma pravakshyami yajñatva mokshase ashubhat. Kim karma, what is work? Kim akarma, what is not work? What is inaction? What is action? And what is actionlessness? Even the great scholars and learned people are Kavayorapi means Kavi means the one who has well read, and those who are Kavi means a poet basically. Literal translation is a poet, because I don't know how Sergio has translated. Has he said poet? Kavayorapi?
No.
He has said learned people?
Wise men.
Wise men. Kavayorapi means even the great scholars and learned people in the Shastras, Dharma, etc. Even they are confused with respect to what is action and what is actionlessness. I shall tell you about action, knowing which you will be released from what is inauspicious. Kim karma kim akarme iti kavayorapyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami yad jnatva mokshase ashubha. See, this is a very important key point that connects the next verses to the relevant meaning, the purpose. The next verses that we are going to see is connected with this verse. Why I am going to teach means what he is going to teach now. He is setting the context. Even the great learned people are confused with respect to what is action and what is actionlessness. Okay. Now, I will tell. Tatte karma pravakshyami. I will tell you about this secret about action, knowing which you will be released from what is inauspicious. So the purpose of this knowledge is to release one from what is inauspicious. What is inauspicious? Samsara. Here Ashubhat means samsara, being born, being dead. Punarapimanam, punaravijanam. This samsara is called as inauspicious because other than the samsara, what is there is your swarupa, your true nature, which is the most auspicious, called Shivam, Shivoham. They say no, Shivam means auspicious. The self is called as Shivam. Now all that which is subject to the laws of karma, all that which is subject to limitation, all that limits or clouds your true nature is inauspicious. What is auspicious? What is inauspicious? When something is, let's say there is a lot of light and harmony and knowledge and serenity in a place. It's an auspicious place. Now, somebody comes from salon without taking bath and enters the place. They say this is inauspicious, you should take bath and then enter the place. For example, if you go to a salon, you cannot enter a temple in India. You should take bath and then go. They change your clothes and then go. Why? Because if you go, cutting the hair is called inauspicious. It disturbs the harmony and the prana in the place. There is a prana concept there. So you are supposed to take bath, make yourself auspicious and then come. What is auspicious? What is inauspicious? That which disturbs the harmony and equilibrium. That which disturbs what is auspicious is inauspicious. What is auspicious? The true nature of yourself is auspicious, which is freedom, which is unlimited nature. Satchit Ananda is the auspicious. What disturbs that? Ignorance, likes and dislikes, and the products of that which is samsara. So samsara is called as inauspicious. Mokshase ashubha. You will become free from all that is inauspicious, which is bondage. Okay. You will become free from all the inauspicious, what is called as bondage. That freedom from that is moksha or liberation. Now that is the purpose. So the knowledge of what is action, what is actionlessness, should liberate you from bondage. Now you may think, what is that? This is nothing great to be known. Action means to do something. Actionless means you don't do anything and simply sitting. That is actionlessness. I am not doing anything. I am simply sitting. I am enjoying being quiet. This is actionlessness. Everybody knows this. This is very common in the world. If you think like that, no. He is coming to the next one. It's supposed, why it cannot be that? Because simply by knowing actionlessness is simply sitting, action is doing work. By knowing that, how you will be free from bondage? Then you can be bound not only to action, you will have double bondage. You don't want to do anything and you want to simply sit. You want to simply sit attached to simply sitting. Attachment to simply sitting is another bondage. So a person who is busy doing is attached to action, let us say. The person who is not doing is attached to inaction. This is where the confusion comes. That is why even the most learned people tend to get confused about this. And it is not easy to know. So let me explain. And the knowledge of which will give you liberation. So the next one is Karmano hyapi bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. Action is to be known. Forbidden action is to be known. Actionlessness must also be known. This is because the nature of action is difficult to understand. Nature of karma is difficult to understand. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Here, karma means the actions that are prescribed by the scriptures. Vaidikam karma, smarta karma. Shrauta karma, smarta karma. That's what it means here. Shrauta karma means the actions enjoined by the Veda. Agnihotram, Sandhyavandanam, Gayatri Japam. All these things are called actions which is Nitya karma, Nainitya karma. We have different kinds of categories of prescribed ritualistic action. That is what means here. So, actual meaning is action. It does not mean any action. So, here it means karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Action is to be known. What is the right action? What is the action prescribed by the scriptures to be done has to be known. What is actionlessness also needs to be known. And what is vikarmana? What is incorrect, forbidden action needs to be known. Now, an active person has to make a choice over action. If you remember about the third chapter, it talks about karma yoga, where it says karman yevadhikarasthe mapaleshu kadachana. You have your ability or your power, your jurisdiction is only to act, not to the result. You cannot control the result. Okay, your right is only to act. Means you have choice over action. You have no control over the result. Here, that interpretation I told you, choice over the action means you can act, you need not act, and you can act in another way. So, when you are exercising your choice over the action, you have to wisely exercise the choice. So, choosing the right course of action is a very important part of karma yoga. Not that you do whatever you want and say that I am not bound by my actions, I am not responsible for the consequence. That is not that. When a person is acting, has to be very conscious and must choose the right course of action. So, you connect this with that. So, he says what is right action needs to be known. What is wrong action needs to be known. Only then you can make the right choice over action. Then actionlessness also needs to be known. This is because the nature of karma is difficult to understand. Garana karmano gati is very deep. It is a very deep concept. What is karma? Means what the laws of karma, the law of karma. The principle of karma, result of karma, the doership and all that. It is very deep, something very deep. It is very difficult to understand. It is not so easy to understand. And that means he is invoking alertness. When you say, hey, this is not easy, it's difficult, take care. It means you will immediately become alert over it. And also it's important. So you will become very alert. You see, karma is not easy to understand. Don't take it for granted. Even the greatest people are confused about what is right and what is wrong. And of course, when you are confused about action itself, actionlessness is even more subtle than action. So it is even more difficult to understand. He is coming to the next one. The one who sees, this is the most confusing verse for which Shankaracharya writes commentary page after page, only for this one verse. Karmanyakarmayah pashyeta karmani cha karmayah sa buddhiman manushyeshu sayuktah kritsna karma krite. The one who sees actionlessness in action and action in actionlessness. Such a person is wise among human beings. That person is a yogi who has done everything that needs to be done. That is to be done. Okay. The one who sees actionlessness in action. Inaction in action. The one who sees inaction or actionlessness in action. The one who sees action in actionlessness, that person really sees. He is the wise person. So, buddhiman manushyeshu, among people he is a wise person. Sayuktaha means he is clear and he is of clear understanding. It's a yogi. Yuktaha, he is using the right approach. He is a yogi. Krishna Karma Krite, who has done all that needs to be done. So if you don't know this, no matter how many things you do, you will still be doing, you will not attain fulfillment. Only by understanding the knowledge, having the knowledge by which you see the actionlessness in action and action in actionlessness, in that knowledge alone you attain fulfillment. You don't attain fulfillment by doing a lot of things. You don't attain fulfillment by achieving different time-bound results. You attain fulfillment by this knowledge. And this knowledge is nothing but self-knowledge. We will see how it is. Now, we will go a little bit into the commentary about this. See how the topic is dealt with. It's very beautiful. Arguments are given. What is this truth about this work that needs to be known? Karmanya karmaya, the one who beholds non-action in action and action in non-action is the wise among one. He is the one who is together, who is a yogi, neither. He has done all that needs to be done. Now, commentary. Karmani iti, karmani kriyate iti karma vyaparamatram tasmin karmani akarma karma abhavam yaha pashyed. Akarmani cha karma bhave kartrutantratvat pravritti nivritteyoho vastu aprapya eva. Any action done is work. One who sees in it non-action or absence of work, and in non-work or absence of work, he sees work, he is wise among men. Action and cessation from action depends upon the agent. Karma Purusha Tantram. It's a very important point here. Kartru Tantratvad means the person who is doing. So I can do something. Action or non-action depends upon the doer, the individual. It does not depend upon, it is different from jnana. Jnana is Vastu Tantra. Means knowledge depends upon the nature of the object. What is the true nature of something? The true nature of something is not dependent, I have no choice over it. It's not dependent on how I see. The true nature of something rests on that object of analysis. Whatever I want to know, the true nature of something rests on that thing. And there is no choice. You and I have no choice about it. We can only strive to understand the true nature of it. We can understand it partially or fully, it's another matter. But what is it? What is this? It depends on this. It does not depend on you or me. Now, what can I do with this? Depends on me. I can read it, I can make rockets out of it, I can make paper boats out of it, or I can put it in an altar and do puja because it's a holy book. I can do whatever I want. So, here he is invoking that concept. Action or stopping to do action depends upon the one who is doing, the kartru. Then, all references to action and its accessories and so forth take place on the plane of ignorance before reality is attained. Here is one more point. Here is saying all references to action, accessories means the instruments of action, etc. take place on the plane of when you are overpowered by ignorance. Kriya karakadi vyavahara avidya bhumo eva. Avidya bhumo means in the plane of ignorance. Bhumo means a plane. Plane of ignorance means in the dimension when you are under the influence of ignorance. Then alone this concept of action, non-action, and the different accessories of action, the doer, the instrument of action, the action that is done, the result of action, sense of doership, all this comes only when the ignorance is operating. And karmayaha pashyati saha buddhiman manushyeshu. The man of such attainment is not only wise but also a yogi. He has done all that needs to be done. Thus is extolled the one who beholds the work in onward forward. So what he is saying is, see, action or non-action depends upon the individual. I am doing something, I am not doing anything. Both of these states of doing and not doing. I am doing a lot of things, I am not doing anything. Both of the perception of the deluded man, the Lord affirms the one who beholds non-action in action, etc. So which I explained to the common person, because of ignorance, the action of the body and mind he superimposes on the self. Similarly, the non-action of the body and mind he thinks that he superimposes on the self, and he does not know the actionlessness nature of the self, and because of this he is seeing wrongly, and he thinks that when he is doing something, oh, I am doing this action, I have to enjoy the results of action, I have to face the consequences of this action, I am bound by the consequences of this action is important for me, all this he thinks. And also when he is not doing anything, he thinks, I am very comfortable, I am not doing anything, I am chilling out. No, if I am chilling out, the satisfaction from chilling out, it is okay, it is that if it is an objective rest for the body and mind is another thing. If you consider yourself to be, if you consider yourself to be not doing anything, because the body and mind is not doing anything, the state of the body and mind is being superimposed on the self. What is wrong in this? If you think the state of the body and mind to be you, the body is perishable and the mind is constantly changing, and you lose the true nature of yourself, which is Sachidananda, you are always caught. This wrong perception of the body and mind to be oneself is samsara. It is the ignorance which sustains samsara. This is the causal body. So this has to be corrected. Only when this is corrected, the person can become free from samsara. Then it is also important to note down that Atasya karma karmaiva sat karya karanashrayam karma rahite avikriye atmani sarvaihi adhyastam yataha panditaha api aham karomi iti manyate. Also note that in this context that the work of the body mind organism of course remains the same, but it is superimposed by all on the immutable self that works not. For even the learned man thinks I work. Therefore the wise man is he who perceives non-work in what all the world believes to be work inherent in the self. Even as he is aware of the non-movement of the trees on the river bank despite the apparent movement. Right? Says, see, even though the self is not doing anything, you, in your true nature, even though you are not doing anything, body and mind continues to be active. Even for enlightened person, when he is going and, let us say he is a sannyasi who is living on bhiksha, he is going and begging some food and eating. So, even that person, the body and mind is active when he is going and doing bhiksha and all that. His body and mind is active when he is eating, attending nature's call, body and mind is active. But he always sees the self is inactive. He sees himself as he is, as the self is. Now, in spite of that perception of oneself to be the akarta, in spite of seeing one's own true nature, the body and mind continues to move and keep doing action. Just like how, even though the one who is traveling in the boat knows that the trees that are appearing to move are not moving. If you remember, I used to give the example of the sun rising and setting. Sun does not rise, the sun does not set. We all know that. Still the sun appears to rise and appears to set. We are even going to Constanta to enjoy sunrise. Right? Now, in the same manner, the appearances continue the same. But the appearance is backed by the knowledge. Just like how a person in the boat, he knows the trees are not moving. But still, he sees the trees moving. He does not see the trees moving while the trees are apparently moving. Meaning, it is not a consciousness. It is just the stopping of the superimposition of the nature of the body and mind upon oneself. Don't
don't superimpose the nature of the body and mind upon yourself. When you stop doing that, you will realize your true nature in spite of the body and mind being active. Since the body and mind is constantly active, even the wise person gets delivered. Even though he knows sometimes he gets confused because it is not such a simple thing like going in the boat and the creeks moving. It is a deeply ingrained habit that is having layer after layer after layer of conditioning that is reinforced over millions and millions of lives. So such a conditioning is very hard to remove. So even the wise man seems to get confused from time to time. He forgets that because of the force of the habit. That's what he says. Contrary, he perceives work where the world superimposes non-action on the self, mistaking the body-mind to be the self. When the body-mind ceases to work, the consequence of the second superimposition is the egoistic affirmation, I am happy doing nothing. He is the wise person among men as he grasps the real distinction between work and non-work, and he is the discriminate, the one with viveka, one with jnana, the yogi, who accomplishes all that needs to be accomplished. He is delivered from all the ashubham or samsara. He has discharged all his duty. This is the actual meaning of the verse. In the same way, the common people consider the body and the mind, when it is not doing anything, consider that I am not doing anything. That it is saying ahankara, that's ahankarabi sandhihetutvad. So that tendency to consider that I am not doing anything. When the body and mind is, I am not doing anything, I am enjoying being quiet. It is ahankara also. It is also sense of doership and enjoyership. You are still bound by the individuality. So the wise person sees that also as action. Suppose an ignorant person is not doing what you are supposed to do. Let us say, you have a lot of vessels piled up in the sink, in the kitchen. I am not doing anything, I am enjoying. And you are doing this day after day. After 10 days, if you go and see, you cannot enter the kitchen. Or the vessels that have piled up will start stinking. So then you are guilty. You see, oh my God, I have not done what needs to be done. I am an irresponsible person. I am a clumsy person. All that. Or somebody tells you that you are an irresponsible person. Why? Because you are thinking that I am quiet. I am not doing anything. So in your attachment to this non-action, you forget all the necessary action. So akarma here is not doing what needs to be done. When you are not doing what needs to be done because you are attached to simplicity, it brings in a lot of troubles also. So in many contexts, not doing what needs to be done can bring in a lot of trouble, sometimes more trouble than doing things. Non-action can bring more trouble than doing. For example, somebody is, I told you, there is a house where the owner of the house had a monkey. I think I told you this story. He had a pet monkey, he has trained that monkey. So, one day he got a guest, a very compassionate guest who is an animal activist. He came to the house, having lunch. He said, Rama, Rama, Rama. They call like these monkeys in India, Rama, Rama, Rama means monkey will jump. Because the monkey is supposed to be Hanuman. They will always give command Rama, Rama to monkeys. So this he said, Rama, Rama, bring the water. He brings the water and gives. And then he says, Rama, Rama, bring the plate. He brings the plate. Keep doing it. After he brings something, he will take a stick and hit its head. Tuck. You will give one shot in the head. And then he will sit quietly. And then after he does everything, every 2-3 minutes he will take the stick and give one hit. And only when he does ask the monkey to do something, he will go and do. After he does it, he will give a hit. This person who came as a guest got really annoyed. It's a sweet monkey. Why you keep hitting it? He is suffering and I cannot see this. I'm a Blue Cross activist. I'm an animal activist. You cannot people for ethical treatment of animals. PETA. So they are sometimes a real nuisance in the wrong place. So he says you cannot hit the monkey. Leave the monkey with such a sweet monkey. It does so much work. We are hitting it. Okay. You are my guest, I should not irritate you. I will leave the monkey. The monkey sat. He started eating. Look at the owner. Look at the stick. Said, in 2 minutes happened, crossed and nothing happened. He did not get the hit in the right time. He moved 4 steps closer to the person who has eaten. And he smiled. Monkey also looked like this. Very nice face. He looked at the person. He looked at the guest. Looked at the stick. Looked at the master. Nothing happened. He went and sat next to the guest. And the guest was very amused. The monkey likes me. And then he caressing the monkey, played with the monkey. He gave one little bit of vegetable for the monkey. He did that. And all that they became friends. Started eating. Then the monkey looked at the stick, looked at the owner, looked at the guest, looked at the plate. There was a banana there. Then he took the banana. And he took the banana. Then he got a little alarm, Then the owner of the monkey was laughing inside to see what is going to happen next. He took the stick and the guest said, no, let him. Nice monkey. Then he jumped and sat on his head. Then he sat on his shoulder. He could not eat. Then he said, please take this monkey away. Then his hand went to the stick. Immediately the monkey ran and sat. So this is called the problem of non-doing. When you don't handle this monkey from time to time with some stick called discipline, sadhana or karma, the right action that needs to be done with dharma and everything, this monkey will start eating up your food. It will start doing all the unnecessary things. That is why non-action can bring more trouble than action. So remember the monkey. Whenever you are attached to non-action and think that I am the Atma who is not doing anything. Why should I do anything? If you think like this, remember the monkey. Because the state of doing or not doing is not in the body and the mind. You are always not doing. Even though when you are doing action, you are not doing anything. So you don't need to experience non-action when the body and mind is non-active. Of course, non-action is required in terms of rest for the body and mind. But the non-action of the body and mind is not a condition that reflects on you. It is a condition of the body and mind. May you not define yourself based on the action or non-action of the body and mind. Because non-action can also bring equal trouble like action which is not done properly. And action which is done properly is very useful. Where we saw in the few verses before, in the last chapter, he said, because of action only you are able to be alive. Action is very useful. So don't think that action is a problem. Action is not the problem. The ignorance behind the action. The ignorance of the doer is the problem. Action per se is not the problem. Non-action per se is not the relief. Not doing anything by itself is not going to free you. Because if you are going to have the ahankara, thinking I am not doing anything, because the body and mind is not doing anything, that is also equally bondage like thinking that I am doing. So, learn to see non-action in action and action in non-action. Now he is giving another very important interpretation by the Karmakandi. Suppose if you, after learning Bhagavad Gita, suppose you meet some Purva Mimamsa person. If you go to India sometime, you meet some ritualistic Brahmin who believe in Jnana Karma Samuchayavada. There is an argument that you have to keep on doing action all your life. Because if you don't do action, even though you may be self-realized, you have to do certain specific actions. The Lord has said in Bhagavad Gita, if you don't do that, you will not get moksha, you will get into trouble, you will go to hell and all that. So, actually what this verse means is, the one who sees action in non-action. Because action is that which produces a result. That is the definition of action. So, I am supposed to do let us say I am supposed to do puja. Every day I am supposed to do puja. I don't do the puja. So, when I don't do what I am supposed to do, in Vedic karma, when you don't do the prescribed action, which is compulsory action, it is like I don't brush my teeth. it produces problem. It produces caries, it produces tartar, and all the gingivitis. All this problem comes when you don't brush your teeth. So non-action can produce a result. So when you don't do the prescribed ritualistic action, it is called as pratyavaha dosham. It has a certain defect called pratyavaha, which is nothing but not doing what needs to be done. For what is the result of that dosha, that defect? What is the result of that is hell. The one who neglects his ritualistic obligations goes to hell. That is the thing given in the Veda. Okay? So because non-action produces the result like hell, it is to be seen as action. And when you do obligatory action enjoined by the scriptures, when you do obligatory action, this nitya karma, etc., the prescribed, the ritualistic rules, the action which are supposed to be done, when you do that with the spirit of dedication to God, it may be considered as non-action because they don't give any of the fruits. For example, the sankalpa is very important. That is why when we do puja, we say Mo Bhaka Samanta Durgacheshwara Pramesha Prithitam, for the purpose of the welfare of myself and my family, for the welfare of this organization, I do this puja. We say no. So why we say that sankalpa? So the desire for the result is there. Only then that can produce the result. So I start a ritual with a lot of expectation of some result, and then in the middle I got disinterested in the result. I said, okay, because I started, I will do this for the sake of the Lord. It does not produce any result. I will not be affected by the result of that ritual. If it is supposed to give me heaven, I will not go to heaven because of that. If I do something wrongly and because of that I have to go to hell, I will not go to hell because I don't have the sense of doership. I don't have the sense of ownership over the result. It is like a lottery ticket that won the lottery but it is not claimed. The money just stays. If I don't claim the lottery, how will I get the money? So it is like the gift that is not claimed. So the result of action, when I am not attached and I dedicate it to the Lord, the action does not come to me. That's what scripture says. So he sees non-action in action. The quality of non-action which does not produce any result is seen in the action that is done. This is not right interpretation. I am giving an example of the wrong interpretation. Don't write this as notes. Okay, so this is wrong. So doing action with dedication to Lord is considered as non-action. So all your life you have to keep doing action dedicated to the Lord. You cannot leave your karma. You have to do all the Vedic karma, smarta karma and everything. So you have to continue your ritualistic religion. Sannyasa is not allowed. Where you are leaving all the rituals, that is all a great sin. You should continue to do all the rituals, but with the spirit of dedication to the Lord. Then you will not be bound by the result. So this verse actually means the one who sees the quality of non-action in action done in dedication to the God, sees non-action in action. And he sees the negative results of not doing the prescribed action, producing results. That when you don't do what needs to be done, it produces a lot of negative results. Because non-action is capable of producing negative result, it is to be understood as action because it is producing a result. So what is the definition of action? Like C language. Action equal to that which produces result. So wherever you are producing result, the computer will map it as action. So non-action is action. That is what this verse means. This is the actual meaning of the verse. Says the ritualistic person, Purva Mimamsaka. So for this, how the Acharya is refuting this. He is rejecting, no, this is not the real meaning of the verse. In this if you think like this, no, this is not the right interpretation, because this knowledge, what is the use of this knowledge? Can you become free from samsara? Because you see this knowledge. See, let it be true that the action is producing its result, non-action is producing its result. Let it be true. Now, what is the point? What did the Lord say? The one who sees like this, just by the virtue of this knowledge, you get liberated. That is the statement. If you remember, I told you, moksha se ashubha, this is the key point. By this knowledge, one is freed from samsara. That is the key point. So, this knowledge is supposed to give you liberation. How come this knowledge that doing ritualistic action with the spirit of dedication to the Lord is non-action? Not doing anything produces negative result, so it is action. By this knowledge, how will you get moksha? Then the Purva Mimamsara shuts his mouth. This is the objection he says. So you cannot get moksha simply by this knowledge. See, what we are telling is this knowledge itself gives moksha. Not that you have this knowledge and then based on the knowledge you do a lot of things and then you get moksha. No. This knowledge is moksha. How come this knowledge is moksha? Can this, the wrong knowledge, what is proposed by the ritualistic person as the seeing non-action in action dedicated to God and seeing action in non-action because non-action produces hell, etc. How can this knowledge itself give you liberation? It cannot give you liberation. So that is not the intended meaning. From performing obligatory works, release from evil may conceivably result. Okay, I will accept that. Even I will accept that doing the obligatory action will liberate you from, relatively liberate you from samsara. Okay, I will accept that. Even if I accept that, how this knowledge can produce? Now, but not from knowing that they yield no result. See, if you do action, it can probably give you heaven, etc. I accept. But what result comes from simply knowing that this action does not produce any result? Nothing happens. I know this action does not produce any result. Okay, so what? How does this knowledge that this action done in this attitude does not give result? The lottery ticket that is not claimed will not get the prize. Okay. How does this action liberate me from the bondage to the prize? How does this action, how does this knowledge itself liberate me? It will not liberate me. And the next one. Shruti has not decreed that knowledge of the fruitlessness of obligatory action, nor that of the later, shall release one from samsara, nor has the Lord maintained that position in the Gita. Now he is quoting Shruti. So the line of argument, see, the line of argument is always Shruti Yukti Anubhava. Okay. Now he is quoting, is this the true meaning of, this is what Vedanta is saying? If you read all the Upanishads, is this what we see in Veda? The Vedanta is not saying this, that knowledge of the selfless action, knowledge that selfless action gives you moksha. Sorry. The knowledge that selfless action does not give you the result. Selfless action does not give you the result. This knowledge gives you moksha. It's not told by the Shruti. Shruti means Vedanta. So, when I see an apparent contradiction in the Smriti, which is Bhagavad Gita, it is to be interpreted in the light of what is told in the Upanishads, which is Shruti. So, if there is an apparent contradiction between the Shruti and the Smriti has to be interpreted in the light of the Shruti. This is a rule which I told long back. So, in the same spirit, he said, Shruti does not say this. Shruti says, moksha comes only from the knowledge of Atma. Here also, in the Gita also, Lord is not trying to tell what you think he is saying. He is also saying the same thing what the Vedanta is saying. Because he said, I am giving the essence of all the Vedas in this, I am teaching what I taught before in the Vedanta, the same thing I am teaching here. That's what the Lord says. So he is also telling what the Vedanta is really saying. This should refute this theory of perception of work in non-work. What has been enjoined here is not the duty of perceiving work in non-work, but only the duty of performing the obligatory work. No worthwhile result. What is given in the Veda is not the Veda is not telling you to have a duty. It's not telling that you have the duty to see action in non-action. It's not a duty that is prescribed. The duty prescribed is the obligatory action. What is to be done is the obligatory action, And what is suggested is the knowledge which backs your action. Okay? So no worthwhile result can follow from the knowledge that non-performance of obligatory action gives results in the sin of omission, which is sin of omission is called pratyavaha dosha, the defect of omission. So not performing my duties will give the result of omission, the sin of omission. This knowledge also does not give any specific result, other than probably motivating you to do something. So this knowledge by itself does not produce a result. So he is refuting both these points of view. And the non-performance of obligatory action has not been enjoined as something to be known. From the erroneous perception, work is not work. There cannot follow release from evil. Also, from the wrong perception of action as non-action, there cannot follow release from samsara, or there cannot be wisdom. This buddhimatvam means the right knowledge. The right knowledge, buddhimatvam, yuktata means the right orientation of the mind, which is the attitude of yoga. Okay? Yuktatvam means being grounded in the right knowledge and coming from that platform of right knowledge, which is called the mind, which is the buddhi, which is in the state of yoga. Now, yuktata, Krishna karma kritvadi cha phalam upapadhyate. Now, this attitude, this knowledge, and the state of being the performer of all, it deserves no laudation. Erroneous cognition itself is an obvious evil. From the erroneous perception of yoga, this integration and the state of being a performer of all work, it deserves no laudation. Okay. What he is saying is, the wrong perception that action is non-action, that alone cannot give you, if you say that this perception of action and non-action is wrong, it is not right, that non-perception, if Lord is trying to tell this is what is the meaning of the words, it cannot give you the freedom from evil, freedom from samsara, nor can it give you the wisdom, or nor can it give you the status of the one who has accomplished all that needs to be accomplished. And it does not deserve any great praise, because it is a great secret, it is the supreme knowledge, so that praise is not required. And wrong understanding itself is a problem. So, this understanding that, this operant school, the ritualistic school which says, doing selfless, knowing that action dedicated to God does not give me results. Non-action of not doing what needs to be done gives me the negative result of negative karma of omission. This knowledge is what is talked about. It is wrong because this is a wrong knowledge. If this is what is the knowledge talked about, this knowledge is not capable of producing wisdom. This knowledge is not capable of producing freedom from samsara. Since it is not capable of producing these great results promised, it is not worthy of any praise. Also, wrong knowledge itself is a problem. Wrong knowledge itself is ashubham. Means wrong knowledge itself is inauspicious. So this cannot be the intended meaning of this word. So it's called khandana. Khandana means this wrong knowledge which you are telling, what you are proposing, that itself is inauspicious. Forget that liberating you from inauspicious. In the argument it's saying, knowing this, one stops being stupid. So what you are proposing is itself stupid. Forget that it is liberating a person from being stupid. It's a way of argument. It's like khandana. It is dismissing the opponent. How can it release from this wrong knowledge, understanding itself being inauspicious? How can it release a person from other inauspiciousness? Darkness cannot dispel darkness. So he's smashed the ritualistic school. Like this, there are a lot of arguments. So basically, the intended meaning, we can go through all these arguments. It's very interesting if you want to go through. So the other arguments and the further discussion of this concept, we will go. We will see in the next class. We just saw one sloka's commentary alone, those pages of pages. The beauty of Shankara's commentary, Sri Shankaracharya's commentary, if you see, one factor keeps being reinforced again and again. Commentary on the Upanishads, commentary on Bhagavad Gita, commentary on Brahma Sutra, everywhere he is highlighting the nature of the self as the non-doer and the non-experiencer of the results of action. You are free. You don't need to do any action. You cannot do any action and get liberation. All the actions are only for the purpose of purifying the mind. If you do action with the attitude of dedicating to the Lord, you will get purity of mind, which is useful for getting the knowledge. But what liberates is knowledge alone, and your nature is non-action. Your nature is moksha. Your nature is liberation. You are free. To understand this is the whole point of the scripture. So, the entire point of the scripture is to see the pointlessness of action for the purpose of knowledge. The uselessness of effort in producing knowledge. The uselessness of effort in producing liberation. What produces liberation is knowledge. Work only produces results. If you are not attached to the result, probably it can help you to decondition your mind, which is called purity of the mind. This is the point he keeps asserting again and again, that knowledge of the Swarupa, of the Atma alone is liberation, and how it is liberation, he keeps proving that. And he smashes every other opponent. Because of the ignorance, we are always thinking something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. This mind that is always thinking something needs to be done is never available for the reality of the self. To know myself, nothing can be done. Liberation being eternal, nothing can be done, which will give me liberation. Liberation is not the result of any effort. So let me seek to know what is it. And the mind is open for knowledge. This state of mind is the mind of the seeker of knowledge. To bring a person to this state is what all the arguments are about. And after understanding, to be grounded in the knowledge and not to slip back into the habitual error, all these commentaries and everything will work. Because when you read a lot of scriptures and everything, there are apparently a lot of contradictory ideas where you have to see the context. If you don't do this karma, you will go to hell. Oh my God, I have become a sannyasi. Now I cannot do this work. What to do? I heard about this. For example, you may think it is I heard from a teacher about an example of a person who became a monk. This person was very ritualistically strict, he was doing all the rituals correctly and everything. He took sannyasa, he became a monk. After becoming a monk, the next day was the ancestry ritual day for his father. He was very, oh my God, today I have to do the tarpanam, I have to do this ritual, I am not doing the ritual. He became very guilty suddenly. I am not doing it, because you are constantly used to doing that. Then he ran to Swami Dayananda Saraswati and he said, Swamiji, I feel very uneasy, I have not done the ritual. I have to do tithi for my ancestors, my father. I have to do this ritual for ancestors. He is very clearly said in the Veda that Deva Pitrakaryam Prabhavitavyam, don't give up the committed rituals for the gods and the ancestors. It is very clearly said, I am very restless, I feel very guilty. Then Swami Dayananda, he was laughing and said, hey, you have become a monk. You have renounced the rituals in a proper manner. You don't need to do rituals anymore. And this to decondition that mind. So it is not easy. The mind that has gone through a very strict, disciplined, ritualistic life cannot give it up when it is starting to be more and more committed for knowledge. It cannot give it up. So what you say is, okay, keep doing and and keep doing the rituals without attachment to the results. And over a period of time, when you have the right level of purity, give up everything and renounce and take to only contemplation and study. And this is true. So the mind which is committed to study and contemplation, in order to really understand what is what, it has to keep on studying and listening to this concept of the nature of the Atma. Otherwise, the habitual error that I have to do something, that restlessness will not leave you. That is why the whole commentary, the central fulcrum of the commentary is only this point. And this is what he keeps emphasizing again and again in the entire Bhagavad Gita in so many ways. Om Purnamada Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Ignorance. One considers oneself to be doing something, or one considers oneself to be not doing anything. I am not doing anything, I am sitting comfortably. Okay? A person who thinks like this is also overpowered by ignorance because he is defining himself based on the status of the body and mind which is not acting. The one who is busy acting thinks that I am acting. He is also defining himself based on the status of the body and mind which is very busy doing stuff. So, since both these perceptions that I am a doer, I am not a doer are based on the ignorance of one's true nature, it has the result of karma. It is considered non-action is also action. So the wise person is able to see the wise person is able to see action in non-action. He sees action in action, he sees action in non-action. How he sees non-action in action, we will see. Now, the one who sees inaction in action, when somebody is active, that is when he is active, when I am active, I see that I am not active. That means what? I actually see the body and mind is active, but I am only the witness. I am not doing anything. The body is doing, the mind is doing. Guna gunesha vartante. Things act on things. Gunas act on the gunas. The organs of action and the organs of perception and the mind are made of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. The things of the world are also made of Prakriti and Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So, this inner world, the organism which is made of the Prakriti is acting on things which are made of Prakriti. So, Prakriti is acting on Prakriti. I am not doing anything. Things are acting on things. Guna gunesha vartante. Guna acts on gunas, qualities act on qualities. I do nothing. I am only the consciousness which is aware of everything as it is. I am a karta, the one who knows this. The one who knows oneself to be the pure consciousness which is not conditioned by the state of mind and body. The one who knows oneself to be the consciousness not conditioned by the state of mind and body, that person sees inaction in the middle of action. There may be a lot of action like Arjuna waging a war. He is in the middle of the war, busy killing thousands of people. And he says that he is not doing anything in action. Krishna is driving the chariot. He knows that he is not doing anything while the body and the mind of Krishna is driving the chariot. So, one who sees non-action in action. In apparent action. Actually, the self is non-acting. And one who sees action in non-action means in the state of not doing anything, what people call, the ignorant people call as non-action, the person is not doing anything. He sees action because he sees the sense of enjoyership and doership. I am not the bhava that I am not doing anything. So there is a possibility of ignorance and attachment even when the body and mind is not doing anything. Even though it may be nirvikalpa samadhi, if I am attached to it, I am in nirvikalpa samadhi. If such a bhava is there, the person is doing something. Maintaining the mind in samadhi is mental action. Means I am defining myself based on the state of mind and body. So there is action in inaction. One who sees like this is truly the knower, the wise person, the yogi. How that person has done all that needs to be done. Krishna karma kriti. How? He has done all that needs to be done. How? Because he knows this perception is possible only when a person knows one's own true nature. One's own true nature, being Satchidananda, he understands himself as complete. Why we are all doing so many things? Because we want to get the satisfaction, to attain some kind of fulfillment and completeness. Some kind of fulfillment. Every action presupposes the importance of the result, which is important for me because only when I get that I am a little bit fulfilled. Like that, if I keep on adding a lot of little bit fulfilled, one fine day I think I will be fully fulfilled, which is the ignorance. So, this person has done all that needs to be done. Why? Because he sees the Atma, he sees himself, he sees oneself, this person sees oneself as the self is. And when you see yourself as you are, you understand you are complete. So you don't look for completeness either in action nor in non-action. So when you don't look for completeness in anything, you have done all that needs to be done. You don't have a need to do anything because you are complete. You don't need to do something to feel okay or to feel fulfilled. So he has done all that needs to be done because of the vision of self. He has attained the highest. He has owned up what is the highest as his own true nature. When he has attained what is the highest, what else remains to be achieved? Nanu kim idam viruddham uchyate karmani akarmayah pashyeti akarmani cha karma iti nahi karma akarma syat. There is an objection. Now the opponent is giving an objection. What is the sense of this self-contradictory proposition about perception of non-work in work and work in non-work? Work, of course, can't be non-work. And non-work cannot be work either. How can the person see the contradictory states? This is objection. What is this preposterous statement? Seeing work in non-work, non-work in work. You cannot see work in what everybody sees as work. When somebody is not doing anything, you see it as not doing anything. It's very simple. Why you are confusing and making this contradictory statement? And the answer is not so. It is not like this. What in truth is non-action appears to a deluded man as action. Similarly, action appears as non-action. What is in truth non-action, non-work means the state of nahi karma akarma syat akarma va karma tatra viruddham katham pashyeti drashta na akarma eva paramarthataha. Akarma eva paramarthataha means non-action is the absolute reality. Paramarthataha means non-action is the nature of the self. Sat karmavat avabhasate mooda dushte. This truth, which is the highest, which is the true nature of the self, which is the absolute reality, unchanging, always the same, appears to be doing action. Why? Because of ignorance. So, what is actually non-active appears to be active because of the power of Maya, power of ignorance and avidya. That is why the people of the world think what is actually non-active, they see this to be active. Tatra yatha bhuta darshanartham aha bhagavan. To facilitate the knowledge of reality regarding this, in order to help people to see things as they are, in order to facilitate the vision of reality for you and me, see, you are seeing what is inactive to be active. So, to help you to see the reality of yourself, which is actually inactive, the Lord says, bodhavyam, that is why He says, karmanyakarmayah pashyet ityadi. All these statements telling that seeing action in non-action, seeing non-action in action, all this, the Lord said only to clarify this point and to bring home the reality of the nature of the self as the non-doer. Then, ataha na viruddham. Thus, it is not contradictory. This follows also because it would alone make sense of the claim of wisdom on behalf of such a beholder. Buddhimatvad yupapatheksha bodhavyam iti yatha bhuta darshanam uchyate. Now, only in this manner it can make sense of the claim of wisdom on, that is, the person who sees inaction in action, the person who sees the self as the self. Why he is telling? To reveal the true nature of the self as the non-doer. The person who sees this really sees. So, the one who sees this is a wise man, buddhiman, saha buddhiman manushyeshu. That person is the wise among men. So, how does it become wisdom? Only when a person sees something as it is, that person is wise with respect to that. A confused person is not called as wise. So, only by seeing the true nature of the self, a person can become wise. And also connected with this purpose of making the person wise, he is revealing the reality. So, these are all logical constructs. He is constructing the argument. And then, the true perception, that is why he speaks about this necessary for the right perception. Necessity for the right perception about the self, the true nature of the self, the necessity to see the self as it is. That is why that necessity is there. That is why he says it should be known. He says, Bodhavyam, the word, you have to know about work, you have to know about wrong work, you have to know about actionlessness. Actionlessness needs to be known. He is saying that. When he says means what? See, it is not a simple thing, there is a secret behind it. It has to be known means it is not what you think. Actionlessness or action is not what you commonly think. Don't think actionlessness and action is what you apparently see. That is not what it is. There is a hidden reality behind that. That is why it needs to be known. When he says that, that means it has to be understood in a different spirit. That is what he said. And also, another one, this statement that to see actionlessness in action and action in actionlessness cannot be a contradictory statement because it is connected with the purpose. What is the purpose? To become free from inauspicious bondage. So how can contradictory perception free a person from bondage? Either the bondage is there, you cannot do anything about it, then you cannot be free. And if you imagine yourself you imagine yourself into something else, that you are not conscious of bondage, that is not true freedom from bondage. That is only a temporary anesthesia for bondage. You can do some bhajan, sometimes you forget everything, it's very nice, or you go to a disco, you forget everything, it's very nice. Then you are back to the same square. It is like that yogi who went into samadhi and he, when he woke up, he asked, where is my cup of water? It's the same story. So, as long as ignorance is there, there is no freedom from bondage. So, contradictory perception cannot give you freedom. So, this statement cannot be contradictory because it is supposed to give you freedom. Being a contradictory statement, it cannot give you freedom. So, this is not the real import of this statement. And then, the Lord's statement in this seeks to abolish the contradictory perception by the ignorant of work and non-work. In this verse, that the one who sees action in non-action, non-action in action, it seeks to establish to remove the contradictory perception. The one who does not know is actually seeing contradictory. He is seeing the non-active as active, and he is seeing the active. Seeing the active as active and non-active as active. The non-active self is seen as the active entity. That I see myself as doing something, while I am actually the non-doer. And the one who is, he is not able to see the reality of the nature of the self as non-action, and he sees the state of non-action as really non-action, but while it is being action. There is the sense of doership in the state of being quiet and not doing anything. I am not doing anything entails a sense of doership, and the ignorant person is not able to see that. So, to clear this ignorance and this wrong perception, the Lord is giving the explanation here. Then, note that there is no non-action contained in action as a bunch of fruits in a bowl. Not there is work in action, container of non-work. It is not like that. The one who sees non-action in action and action in non-action. It doesn't mean like there is non-action is like a bowl, and like you see fruits in a bowl, like that you see inaction inside non-action, inaction inside action, and action inside inaction. It means it is not some kind of a state of consciousness. This is another problem. You maintain a state of consciousness, And in that state of non-consciousness, non-active consciousness, absolutely in silence, you do action. So you maintain that special state of mind where you have silence, that state of consciousness, and then you are doing action. So the one who sees this non-action in action, and then you are very quiet, not doing anything in samadhi, but you are protecting the whole world with your grace. So your mind is super fast. There is another example which is stated. When the fan is running very fast, it looks like nothing is happening, it's just still. But it is very fast. It is very high action. So similarly, samadhi is not laziness. Sitting in samadhi is very fast, super action. So the one who sees the supreme action of the gracious presence of the Master in his apparent inaction, that person sees. All this they will say. So there is action inside non-action and non-action inside action. Like you have a bunch of fruits in a bowl. It is not like that also. So he is now refuting the school of this attaining the states of consciousness. This school. So that is being refuted here. Therefore, those who are ataha viparita grihite eva karmani lokikaihi yatha mritrishnikayam udakam shuktikayam va rajatam. Those people who are lost in the ignorant perception, those who are the common people of the world, who take what is seen by the sense faculties, what you see by the sense faculties, those people who take it as real, they see this wrongly. They see action in action, and they see inaction in inaction by mistake. They don't recognize the non-active self, and they see this wrongly. The nature of the self is seen wrongly by the people who are dependent solely on the physical perception. Just like how the one who does not know sees the water in a mirage. When you are traveling, that means what? The causes and conditions make it appear like that, but actually that is not the truth. So when you see a mirage, when you are going on a highway, when you see a lot of water, it is a mirage. Actually there is no water. When you see a mirage, you really see water where there is no water. Or you see the silver in the mother of pearl. In the silver in the mother of pearl. In the mother of pearl, it's very shiny. You think, it has some extra, some precious metal or something is there. Or when the mother of pearl is shiny, you think it is silver. But it is not silver. So you see something where it is not. So similarly, in the same manner, because of the power of avarana and vikshepa, because of the power of covering of the reality and the disturbances and the different movements of the mind, what is inactive, the self that is inactive appears to be active under the power of ignorance. It is natural, but it is not true. It looks like that, but it is not true. And then the objection, now I will give you another objection. That just because this person sees like this, he is not free from action and result of action. This is the karma kanda person. The ritualistic person is saying. Because the person sees I am inactive, that does not make his actions really inactive. Because work is the same for everybody. Is not work the same for everybody? It never gives up its nature. Nanu karmaiva sarvesham na kvachit vyabhicharati. The nature of action never goes away from its true nature. Action and result of action always follows the laws of physics. It is always the same. It does not leave anybody. It is common for everybody. So if you think like that, no. To a person in a moving boat, the stationary trees on the bank seem to move in the opposite direction. Remotely moving objects appear to be stationary. For example, when you see, it is not like that. When you are going on a boat, there are trees in the bank. They are all appear to be moving. When you go in the train, when I was a kid, I always used to see, this tree is going fast, that tree is going slow when you go in the train, So the trees on the bank, which are actually not moving, appear to be moving. Because you are sitting on the boat, when you look at the trees, it looks like you are stationary and they are all moving. Again, when you look at the stars and the sun and the moon, they are all moving in a phenomenal phase, but you don't see anything. Even the sun is rising and setting, you see. The sun is moving, but when you look at the sun, it appears to be stationary because it's far away. If you come after some time, it looks like it has moved somewhere. But when you say, I want to see this moving, let us see where it is moving. It is not moving. Because you are continuously seeing, it doesn't appear to move. But you go inside your room and do some work and come back, it has moved to some other place. There is a thief who is moving the sun and the moon. It is not like that. So it is the distant objects don't appear to move. When you in the same way, when you go in, when you are going in the flight, when you look down, the coast seems to be the same. After some time, you see there is some other coast there, something else down. But when you look, it looks like the same. The farther the object, the slower it seems to move. It is an illusion, optical illusion. In the same manner, it must be understood that the perception of action in non-action and etc., vice versa, is also a wrong perception because of the causes and conditions. Therefore, to correct this mistake is given this proposition which is in the 8. So, this proposition of seeing non-action in action and action in non-action, which appears to be contradictory, is given to help us understand and get out of this error. It is like telling the one who sees the moving trees as not moving and the one who sees the boat which is not moving as moving. That person really sees. For a moment you get clear what's going on, and then when you really explain it, it becomes clear. So it gives an opening for explanation. That's what he said. That is why this topic was handled here. And the next one, tat edat ukta prativachana api asakrit atyanta viparita darshana bhavitataya mukhyamano lokaha. The same objection has been often stated and answered, but due to the impact of repeated and the wrong apprehension, the common man who is not exposed to this knowledge is totally deluded. He forgets the truth, and though he is often heard it affirmed, so he wrongly repeats the objections and demands an answer. He is saying why these objections are coming again and again, because the effect of the wrong perception has been so deeply ingrained in you. In the brain, you are so used to this wrong perception, the wrong perception looks like right. They say, if you keep on repeating a lie, the lie becomes truth. So the people who delude themselves about a lie, they cannot think something else. And then it becomes an emotional reality on top of that. So it is very difficult to get over that. So why all these objections are coming? Because the mind is very attached to the wrong perception. It got used to it. It's not able to shake itself and see something else. Because it's like, the people who wanted to burn Galileo's eyes. That there was a scientist called Galileo. He said the earth is round. So they wanted to burn his eyes. The Bible says the earth is flat. How can you say earth is round? Now you accept that the earth is flat, we will leave you alone. He said, now I really see. I have been deluded all this time. I see the earth, all my theories, everything is wrong. I have been covered by the eyes of, by the mist of darkness. And he said, okay. You now realized your mistake, and they released him. After he got released, he republished his book. So this is what happens. So even a simple scientific fact like earth is round cannot be accepted because earth looks flat. And on top of that, some religious book also tells earth is flat. I don't know, that's how they interpreted it. I don't know how they started interpreting it after Galileo. I don't know about that. Suppose if they had been given enough power, to this day they will be controlling the books and all the kids will be studying earth is flat. And everything started 5,000 years back. That's what they will be studying today also. If they had succeeded in killing Galileo. Or probably, some Aryabhatta, Bhaskara, all that old treatises from India, if it had reached, and if it is not burnt yet, people will come to know that earth is round. So now, when a mind is very attached to a wrong perception, got very used to a familiar, it's like what they say, the known devil, they say, everybody is comfortable with the known devil. They are not comfortable with the unknown angel. But everybody is comfortable with the known devil. Why? Because I know this devil. It's a known devil. So, I know I have been doing something. I know I am bound by karma. I know I am doing action. So, I am doing some good action, wrong action, right action, whatever. And then I am trying to, live my life meaningfully. I am living my simple, common man life. And this fellow comes and confuses me and says, then see action in non-action, non-action in action. What is this nonsense? This is all crap. Don't give me all this. Action is action, non-action is non-action. And if you don't do action, you will have the consequences. If you do the wrong action, you will have the consequences. If you do the right action, you will get a lot of good karma and you will enjoy in heaven. All this is true. How come that can be contradictory? This is all because the mind got used to it. So that is why so many objections are coming. Because of the difficulty in this truth, the Lord is repeatedly answering the objection. He keeps on insisting the same point. The non-active nature of the self, the akartrutvam of the self. So in the second chapter he has said, the self is, he has already established. Why? So now there may be a tendency to consider this Lord is continuously repeating the same point. Why he is repeating the same point again and again? Already in the second chapter he has said Atma is not the doer, Atma is not the enjoyer, it is imperishable, it is not the, what is it? It is not born, it does not die, it does not decrease, it does not increase, it is always the same. It is not bound by action, it is not the result, it is not suffering the result of action. All that he already said. Well, he keeps repeating. Even though he is repeating, look at you, you will keep on objecting. That is why he is repeating. Because your dumb head will not enter your head. So whole Bhagavad Gita is repeating the same thing. Just for you in different angles, in different ways, for us to really understand what it means. Okay. And also, it is being established, the Atmani Karma Abhavaha. Atmani Karma Abhavaha, the absence of action in the self is established by Shruti, Smriti and everything. The different passages of the Veda, the different passages of the Smriti, the different passages of the Purana, Itihasa, everywhere. All the scriptures and the Veda, they declare the absence of action in the self. Okay. And it will also be stated again, and it is also given a lot of reasoning. By reasoning means Shruti Smriti Nyaya Prasiddha. Shruti Smriti Nyaya Prasiddha. It is very famous. The declaration of the actionlessness of the self is very famous in the Veda. It is very famous in the Smritis like Bhagavad Gita. It is also famous in the Nyaya Prasthana, which is Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutra also keeps talking about, very clearly establishes how the self is not the doer. I don't remember the sutra, but in Brahma Sutra, it is called Nyaya Prasthana, where it brings all the knowledge of the Shruti and supports that revealed knowledge with the help of logical analysis and establishes it logically, makes it logically tenable. So it is revelation plus logic. So it has the highest validity. So all these three, by revelation, by recollection and the statements of the different saints and sages, plus the logical analysis in Brahma Sutra, all this established very clearly the non-action and the reality of the self. Kim karma prasiddha uktah vaksyamanascha tasmin karma abhave akarmani karma viparita darshanam atyanta nirudham yataha. When it comes to negating the action in the self, the perception of its opposite, namely action, has become an inveterate habit. Even though this has been established that the self is the non-doer, to see the self to be the doer, to see oneself to be very busy doing action and enjoying the results of action or suffering the consequences of wrong action, this has become a very strongly ingrained habit. Hence, the statement in Bhagavad Gita that even the great sages are deluded, even though the person has understood from the scriptures and reasoning and everything, it is very easy to get deluded. The mind slips back into this habitual error. That is what we saw in Vedic Dharma. How, even a moment of negligence in the seeing the nature of oneself as Brahman is not to be encouraged. Day before yesterday, we saw in Vedic Dharma. So, the same thing. So even the sages are deluded. The common man who is under the influence of ignorance superimposes on the self the work of the body-mind complex and maintains I am the doer. this work is mine, the result must be enjoyed and reaped by me, etc. Similarly, he superimposes on the self the cessation of work from the same organism, body, mind, and the resulting satisfaction and maintains, I do nothing, I am resting comfortably.